Beyond the Wall is presumably one of the best episodes of this season, and perhaps one of the greatest in the series. Like every other episode this season, there are key factors that push the progression in the story. We see some serious character development in episode 6, as we see conflict and of course a growing bond that is turning into love. The interactions in this episode might prove the show a greater animosity in the episodes to come. Let's break down this episode and see what it all means for the rest of the series. I am the Old Tin Man, and if you are new to these analysis videos, subscribe to keep an eye out for more Game of Thrones material. Now let's start in Winterfell, home of the Starks. The 3 key roles for this episode here are Arya, Sansa, and Littlefinger. Arya questions Sansa's loyalty to their family by recalling a story of their father's encouragement and respect. While presenting a letter that Sansa forced to write in Season 2, Arya doesn't give in to Sansa's clarifications of those early events. Back in Season 1, Arya and Sansa's relationship was rocky, like any young sister bond, but it seems that Arya still carries some of those feelings, even after all this time. Both the sisters had a different vision looking forward, and it made the two clash constantly. Since Arya returned to Winterfell, it seems the audience has been viewing her storyline at a different angle, as we are unsure of what she hopes to gain at this point. Before her arrival, she persevered in finishing her murder list, #MurderIsLife. Even at the beginning of this season, her emotion seems to be buried in that list, almost like nothing else can please her. It seems she still believes in that list and looks to be out of place, especially since she is the third wheel next to Sansa and Littlefinger. Talking about Littlefinger, Sansa confides in this maggot of a man. Unfortunately, after keeping her distance from him since their arrival in Winterfell, she doesn't trust anyone else, especially since her reconnection with her siblings have been #OMGAwesome. Littlefinger cleverly places the idea into Sansa's brain to drive off Brienne away from Winterfell, to allow an unfortunate event to happen to Arya, if that were to come. Unsure of Arya's intentions, Sansa uncovers Arya's Halloween masks, in which she finds Arya weirdly fascinated in her discovery. Since Arya's just like Bran, creepy as she admits that she loves to be other people and wear their skin, like Hannibal Lecter. Aw, that's cute. The direction that Arya is heading seems to be more clear. She wants to wear as many faces as possible, including Sansa's. One important detail about this scene is how Arya hands over her newly obtained dagger to Sansa, which shows a curious gesture. That dagger is an important piece in this series, as it was the one that was assigned to be the weapon of choice in the attempt of Bran's assassination in Season 1. It was planted by Littlefinger to guide the Starks to mistrust Tyrion Lannister, and believe he was the one that assigned the assassination. The blade was originally Littlefinger's. Now let's say that Arya is slightly brainwashed by the Faceless Men and is indeed becoming no one. In other words, a person without emotion or interest in anyone or anything. In other words, she is the T-1000. Arya could still have her own interests at heart and might be aiming to become in a powerful position to finish her list. Perhaps Arya doesn't trust Sansa anymore and wishes to kill her so she can disguise herself as the Lady of Winterfell and carry on her duties. Now let's go back to that mysterious dagger. When Arya passes the blade to Sansa, this gesture might symbolize how she has taken the role of Littlefinger and how Sansa should still trust in him. I believe Littlefinger joined the fun party on Arya's list when she arrived in Winterfell, therefore she has already killed him. It wouldn't be too far off to say that killing doesn't affect her mood, and she will murder anyone that crosses her anywhere, especially in Winterfell. Arya discovers Littlefinger's secret rendezvous with Master Wolkan, out of sight of all the bannermen within Winterfell. This could be a reason Arya would mark him for death and since then would be disguising as him ever since. If this was the case, Arya was in Littlefinger's skin when he placed the idea to push Brienne out of the picture. This was Arya's attempt to give herself a chance to successfully take down her sister. Perhaps the only way to cure Arya's odd behavior is for her to see Jon once again, since Arya's respect and appreciation of Jon is one of the realest things she has left. I believe Needle, Jon's gift for her in Season 1, shows the hope that she still has. Now let's go over the wall to the group of misfits. Jon, Gendry, Tormund, Beric, Thoros, the Hound, and a few extras to die for the good of mankind make their way to capture a white to prove to everyone that the dead actually live. The group discovers that killing a White Walker will tear down the whites that follow, but they also found out that the undead have a mating call and signals every undead monster to its position. This proves that the White Walkers have direct control of whites, and without control, the army of dead is powerless. After capturing the stubborn whites, they find themselves trapped on an island surrounded by ice and the army of the dead. The undead soldiers and their leaders seem to have grown to understand the situation. After figuring out that the ice floor will break with too much pressure, they force the group of the living on the island without escape. Once the Hound accidentally slides a rock onto the floor in front of them, the army found that they can cross in smaller groups. The White Walker army have been strategically learning the ins and outs of battle. The longer they have with the human encounters, the more they can determine how humans behave within combat. Once Dany arrives with her dragons, the Night King hurls an ice pick into Viserion and brings him down. So let's hope that the Night King burns in the Seven Hells. Viserion is brought back to life by the Night King, who will possibly breathe ice and be used as the Night King's new steed. This might cause an emotional breakdown for Dany in the last season. Soon after Dany arrives, she departs, but without Jon, to save Drogon from the same fate. Jon falls into the icy water, and once he returned to the surface, there was something very interesting about this shot with Longclaw that could foreshadow Jon's future. The eyes on the direwolf head on Longclaw went from white to blue, right before we see Jon surface from the water. Could this prove to show that Longclaw has a deeper connection to Jon than we originally thought? Is Jon's future in the series doomed to him turning into a White Walker? Or could this simply be a signal that brought Benjen Stark to the rescue? At the end of the episode, we go back to the wall where we find Dany awaiting Jon's safe return, and Jorah informing her that they need to leave. It seems Dany's attraction to Jon is not only obvious to the audience, but to Jorah as well. Since Jorah's return to Dany, we are unsure exactly what his position is with Dany and Jon's relationship, but it seems that both Jon and Jorah might have somewhat of a courteous relationship. Jon was able to see past his previous crimes that caused disloyalty to all of Westeros, and instead saw a man with loyalty and strength. Although Jorah doesn't seem to agree with any feelings that Jon has for Daenerys, he also seems to respect Jon's leadership. Could Jorah believe his love for Dany is too late and that Dany's faith in Jon is too strong to break apart? Episode 6 ends by setting up the finale of Season 7, but what exactly can we expect from the Night King and his new pet? And what can we expect at Jon's presentation of the White to Cersei? How do you guys think the season and the series will conclude? I appreciate everyone for watching this analysis. If you want to join our community and see future analysis content on Game of Thrones and many other shows, click that subscribe rectangle below the video. What do you want to see me analyze next? Thank you again, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you.